Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me one quick favor, see that little black subscribe button on the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, hit that little black subscribe button. Really does help this channel grow, my audience grow, and I appreciate it more than you know. Also, quick thank you to our presenting sponsor, Betfred Sportsbook and the Betfred Sportsbook app. Bet $50 on any game. Get up to $1,111 in free bets courtesy of the Betfred Sportsbook. Thank you again. Now, here's the video that you came here for, to the rest of the Week 1 slate presented by Betfred Sportsbook. Want to start with what I deem to be a very interesting game and certainly a very interesting point spread in the North Carolina-South Carolina game. So very interesting matchup, 7:30 Eastern, ABC, that big ABC game. And what's interesting to me, by the way, game is in Charlotte, so neutral site game. What's interesting to me, it's actually North Carolina that is a 2.5-point favorite in the Betfred Sportsbook. The over-under is set at 64.5. And let me say this. I get that North Carolina has Drake May, maybe at least from an NFL draft perspective, the second best quarterback in college football. I also understand that North Carolina is coming off a 9-win season and a division title. But bluntly, I am a little bit surprised that they are the favorites in this game. Now, in terms of why I'm a little bit surprised, South Carolina, a couple things stand out. One, an incredible finish to last year. We all know the details, but it's worth reiterating. This was a team that in the final 2 weeks of the regular season, Tennessee had a chance to play itself into the college football playoff. Now, they needed some stuff to go their way, a couple breaks, but if Tennessee won out, they were probably going to the playoff. South Carolina smacks them. Tennessee loses. Now, obviously, that was the game that Hendon Hooker got hurt. That was a bummer. But it doesn't take away from the fact that South Carolina, even prior to the injury, was in complete control. Knocks Tennessee out of the playoff picture. And then a week later, remember, Clemson had a chance, if they won out, to make the playoff themselves. South Carolina beats them. Clemson's out of the playoff picture. Ironically, the next week, they go to Charlotte, where they beat North Carolina to win the ACC title. So one, Clemson played really well down the stretch. Or South Carolina played really well down the stretch, excuse me. But two, and I think this is the important part that's worth kind of noting, is that South Carolina's success really coincided with Spencer Rattler playing very well himself late in the season. If you just look at Spencer Rattler's stats from late in the year, you sit there and say, Spencer Rattler wasn't that good. 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But Spencer Rattler, 13 TDs, 3 touchdowns in the final 3 games of the season. Again, when he had success, the team had success. Good news for South Carolina. They did lose some pieces in the portal. Leading rusher Marshawn Lloyd, Jaheim Bell, the tight end. But their leading receiver, Juice Wells, is back. He is not only the leading receiver at South Carolina, he is the SEC's leading returning receiver in his own right. Nicholas Harbor, the 5-star freshman, we expect him. He's an athlete, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got some touches on offense. And overall, I'm really excited about this South Carolina team. And I don't see any reason why they can't start hot against what was a very bad North Carolina defense a year ago. North Carolina, first-year return of Gene Chizik as the defensive coordinator. Yes, that's right. They finished 115th nationally in total defense and 115th nationally in pass defense as well. Now, from the North Carolina perspective, obviously it all starts with Drake May. But again, this is part of why I'm surprised with this with this point spread. Drake May is incredible. Nobody's doubting that. But remember, his longtime offensive coordinator, the guy that he worked with for the last 2 years, Phil Longo, is now at Wisconsin. Offensive coordinator's gone. Mac Brown has said all the right things about the impact that Chip Lindsey has had. But new offensive coordinator, new play caller, knew this, knew that. And it's also worth noting, and I think any college football fan knows this, but potentially Drake May's best wide receiver, best target, Tez Johnson, is still not cleared as I record here by the NCAA. Now that might change. If it does, don't get in the YouTube comment section or tweet me or whatever. But Tez Johnson, a 2-time transfer by technicality, did not play in the COVID year, whatever. Like by technicality, a 2-time transfer. North Carolina believes they have a strong case for him. But we don't know if he is going to play as of right now. And so because of it, new offensive coordinator, you're without your top receiver. And it's also worth noting, at least until you play Clemson, this is the best secondary that North Carolina is going to face all year. South Carolina, again, they do certain things really well, and one of them is defend the pass. Last year, they had 14 interceptions. That was by far the most in the SEC, and they had the number one pass defense in the SEC as well. And so when I look at this game, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but it reminds me a lot of the LSU Florida State preview. What did I say in that game? I thought all of Florida State's strengths went up against LSU's weaknesses, and I thought a lot of LSU's strengths were going up against a lot of Florida State's strengths as well, advantage Florida State. Same with this one. South Carolina's pass offense, which wasn't great until late but got hot, going up against a bad UNC secondary. Drake May facing maybe the best secondary he'll see all year. I like South Carolina. If you want to call it an upset, call it an upset. I believe they get the win in Charlotte on Saturday night.